In the heart of Skull Valley, Utah, 60 miles west of Salt Lake City, 7 island nations fly their flags at Yosepa Cemetery. The landscape has barely changed since the first settlers came back in 1889.
To the early Hawaiians, they would look out over there and they would say, if you can imagine water between here and that mountain over there, that would look like home.
They came for religious reasons, recruited by the Mormon Church. But just 28 years later, almost all 200 returned to Hawaii to build another temple there. Corey's grandparents were one of just 2 families that decided to stay. By maintaining the cemetery, he hopes to teach the youngest generation about the sacrifices their ancestors made.
And then when you begin to learn that, then you can better appreciate that. And that's what we're trying to pass on to our kids, is that the history of their forefathers runs very deep. And this is sort of ground zero. This is where it started.
When the second wave of Polynesians immigrated in the middle of the 20th century, they did not return to Yosepa, finding work in the urban centers of nearby Salt Lake Valley instead. Many Americans have grown accustomed to seeing tall, athletic Pacific Islanders on the football field. At Brigham Young University, the tribal tattoos have long been replaced by team logos on the helmet. For the upcoming college football season, the BYU team will rely on 34 Polynesian players. In some years, they represent as much as 30% of the team. But out here on the practice field, this is not a recent phenomenon. In fact, it's a tradition that goes back to the 1950s. Players like Kurt Gouveia and Lakai Haimuli were all born on Pacific Islands and used BYU as a stepping stone to play professional football, becoming examples of success for thousands of kids back home.
Some kids, that's all they have. You know, it's the football, and you know, they have dreams. They want to go to college. They want to play at a college level. A lot of kids have dream of playing in the NFL.
Go! Like 5 years ago, that definitely was the idea. Your ticket off of this island is football. Nowadays, there's a lot more kids getting academic scholarships to schools all over the nation, which is a great change, and which makes me happy because it shows that we don't have all of our eggs in the football basket.
Yeah, me and my little family.
Kaiser Kinikini didn't have college or football to help him on the right path as a teenager. And before he became a father, he admits his life was a mess.
You know, I grew up in the Glendale, Salt Lake City, you know, in the Glendale area, which is gang capital for Utah, you know, where it all started.
After his parents emigrated from the island of Tonga, Kaiser grew up in poverty and joined a Tongan gang. They are often affiliated with island cultures, and in Salt Lake, the Tongans rank among the most active. Kaiser now helps former members to re-establish themselves in society.
It's just getting out of hand, you know, and the key core thing is because the kids, these youngsters they feel like they don't belong to anything.
The stereotypical warrior image, reinforced by football glory, gang mentality, and the haka dance, clashes with the introspective behavior displayed by those same students in the classroom. There, Polynesian Americans are not performing well. At Kearns High School, only 60% graduate.
I truly believe that the people of my culture, if they do not feel like their response is going to be received intellectually, they will not say a thing in class.
So outside of the Tongan Fest, is there anything else that's coming
Only when they feel like the teachers have bonded with them, have built relationships with them, that they've had an opportunity outside of the classroom to interact with my teachers, will they begin to trust and then start to participate in class.
This choir class is meant to strengthen that bond and the students' cultural identity. More than a century after arriving in America, this community is still finding its way.